Hello, how's everybody doing? This is Senator Kandie Smith, and I wanted to follow what I shared I was going to do. One of the things I said is I was going to, after I took a breather, I was going to come back and talk to you about the budget. And I think this is going to have to be several budget talks. One is not going to do enough, but people have asked questions. People are trying to learn, they want to understand. And so I want to do what I can to break it down. And then if there's questions that you might leave, um, maybe on the site that you want answered later, I can always in my budget talk too. Hey, y'all like that, don't you? That's that creativity in me. But I just want to share a little bit with the budget. It took us 367 days to pass it, which is an entire year later than it should have been passed. So we were operating off the last budget. It's been for the last 3 years. So people were hurting. People were reaching out saying, we need a budget, we need a budget, we need a budget. And so we finally passed the budget and it was signed into law by Governor Stein on July the 7th. And it was a $34.4 billion budget. That's a lot of money. But the first part of this, I want you guys to know, it is your money. It is not our money. It's your money. You work, you pay taxes to the state. We take those funds. We, of course, put those in savings. And then when it's time for us to come out with the budget, then that's what we do. We come out with allocating it to different entities of how we think it's going to be best for the constituents of North Carolina. Now, I think when you look at the budget, you would want it to be balanced. You would want it to be based on everybody being served in the state, right? It's not always that. You do know the party that is um, in the majority, the party that is leading, often leads the budget, and it depends if they want to listen to the other party and say, let me take some things and put it in, let me not take some things. But overall, we have to just take a look at what has um, been needed. And we know things like Hurricane Helene hit in the western part. So, we want to just, you have to look at those things. We can't ignore that. Um, so our budget is Senate Bill 257, Senate Bill 257. Just in case anybody wants to go back, they want to go to NC leg.gov, which is North Carolina LEG for legislature, but just the leg.gov. And then you can go in and you can look at any of the bills that we have. Or those of you who subscribe to my Substack, I put the information from Pitt and Edgecombe County in the budget. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that the constituency who I serve know what's in the budget. So on Budget Talks number one, with this $34.4 billion budget that was signed on July 7th by the governor, I just want to make sure that I give you the highlights from Pitt and Edgecombe. And then I'll just looking at what a lot of people want to know anyway, just some of the basic things, right? Well, I will tell you that we've been fighting for the teachers for a very long time, and we were finally able to give the teachers um, a raise of 8%, and it was long overdue, just to let you know, and I was excited about that. Um, a 13% raise for our state law enforcement. Um, for Hurricane Helene, as I stated before, over $700 million for ongoing recovery. And we know that's going to take a very long time. And it fully funds the Medicaid to cover the enrollment growth, because there's been growth since we expanded Medicaid, and we had to make sure that that was covered. So those are some of the basic things that were covered. But what I did was I decided to break it down and say, let me look at it, the funds that was appropriated to Pitt and Edgecombe. So, and as we go, I'll be glad to answer questions. I see Michael's asked, so how long without a state budget? It was over 367 days beyond when we should have passed it. So that made us a little bit over 1,000 days without passing that state budget. So I had a lot of invites to a lot of businesses. They wanted me to come in and see how they were hurt and how it affected their staffing and everything else. So I just wanted to make sure that I came on and do my due diligence to let you know um, what's in it for Pitt and Edgecombe. So starting with Edgecombe, there's a couple of things that I want to just highlight what's in for Edgecombe. So we have about 10 items that's in it for Edgecombe, and when I look at it, one of the things is it provides uh, a directed grant to OIC of Rocky Mount to expand mobile health services, and they cover both Edgecombe and Pitt, and that was in the amount of $2 million, non-reoccurring, but it provides a directed grant so they can expand mobile health services. So they go out and they help people within the community, which is of course great because sometimes you have to bring it to the people. So I like that. It also provides a directed grant to the Carolinas Gateway Partnership to support its mission of increasing economic development in Edgecombe County and in Nash, and that was 500,000 non-reoccurring, which means it's not going to be in every budget. This is a one-time allocation, and so it would have to be a very intentional decision if it's going to be added again in the next budget. And then we have funds provided for planning and engineering, design and construction for Tar Pamlico flood mitigation, and that's in Edgecombe, and um, that was $8 million. And you know, like I do, that in Edgecombe we definitely need flood mitigation. So this is for the Tar Pamlico flood mitigation project, $8 million. And then for Edgecombe County Schools, we have $1.5 million, and that's as a directed grant to the county schools to support operations following the implementation of new school districts for the region. So some of you may be aware that Edgecombe and Nash counties were combined as far as their school districts, and it was decided that they needed to separate. Nash have their own, Edgecombe have their own, and so when they separated, we knew funds was needed to ensure that Edgecombe had what it needed. And we did not give those funds when they first were separated. And so now they were finally added to the budget. So that's how you got to keep fighting till you can get some of the basic things that you need. And then when we look at Princeville VFD, it provides a directed grant to that's their volunteer fire department, so they can purchase equipment. That's 400,000. And then Project Promise, it provides a directed grant to Project Promise, and that's for workforce development, and that is in the amount of 500,000. And then it provides another 500,000 to OIC, the nonprofit again, and this is to expand its opioid treatment program. And we all know that there's issues when it comes to opioids, and so the funds will be used to respond to the negative impacts of opioid in Edgecombe area. It's pretty bad, so we want to make sure we take care of that. And then we have the Edgecombe County Sheriff Benevolent Fund. It received $500,000, and that is a directed grant again, and that is to be able to purchase equipment. Sometimes the smaller areas don't have the funds they need to keep up with some of the basic things, as you know, such as equipment for law enforcement and other things. And so I'm happy that we were able to get that. And how you doing, Senator Applewhite from Cumberland County? Thank you for joining me. I'm just trying to break down this budget for Pitt and Edgecombe and let them know some of the things that's in the budget so they won't have to guess. And then I've also given them some of the insights on some of the overall things as far as teacher raises. So it's budget talks number one. We're going to have a budget talks two later. And that's when I'm going to talk about a lot of the policy that was put in. Most people are not used to policy being put in the budget. Neither are we. It should be just allocation for different items that we need, but we unfortunately have put a lot of policy, and some of the policy has not been so good, but we'll talk about that at another time. Um, we are looking at East End Missionary Baptist Church for workforce housing, a directed grant to them, and that is $350,000. And then Kanita Family Life Center, a directed grant to the Family Life Center to continue the Food is Medicine program, and that is $1 million. And if any of you know, they have been doing excellent work. Um, Reverend Richard Joyner has been doing this for years, and anytime I call him to come to any program, and then we want to give food boxes to families because we all know affordability is key, right? He has shown up every single time, and I've been very excited about that. So just wanted to let you know those are the funds that's going to Edgecombe from the budget. Now, if we look at Pitt, the funds that's going to Pitt, the first thing I want to bring up is Support Our Troops Incorporated. And it's a directed grant, and that's for a nonprofit that's supporting our veteran organizations through expressions of appreciation for service and sacrifice. And they received $25,000. And then we have the Community Foundation of North Carolina East, and it provides $1.5 million, and that's a grant to the Community Foundation. It's a nonprofit in Pitt County that provides hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment for veterans with the diagnosis of traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress disorder. So trying to find ways to help the veterans. And then Easter Seals, Port Health of Greenville received $500,000. And that's a directed grant to Easter Seals of North Carolina and Virginia Incorporated. It's a nonprofit which it operates clinics that provide disability, mental health, and substance abuse services. 500,000 for them to be able to do that work. Easter Seals Port Health, their Greenville location, and it's going to, again, we got to respond to the negative impacts of opioid epidemic in North Carolina. And y'all know, like I do, opioids have been taken over, and we have to fight it any and every way that we can. Um, and then we have $350,000 that was given to ACEs for Autism. So it's a directed grant, and they're again located in Pitt County, providing services for individuals with on the autism spectrum. So they have autistic disorders, and so we want to make sure that we look after them. And then you might have heard Heart for NC, North Carolina, and $300,000 was given to Heart for NC. It's a directed grant. It's a nonprofit, and it is based in Pitt County again, faith-based ministries across Eastern North Carolina. Will, you said what was provided for the volunteer firemen? So for the volunteer firemen that we had in um, Edgecombe County, the Princeville Volunteer Fire Department received $400,000. And as I go down, I'll see about any that might have been given to any in Pitt County. The blessing to this budget is it operates for a year, and then after a year, since we didn't do it a year ago as we should have, we now only operate for a year, and then we're going to start again and have another budget. So just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. We gave $800,000 to Impact Clinic of East Carolina University, and it's in a directed grant, and it is the East Carolina University Medical and Health Sciences Foundation. It's a nonprofit for the Impact Clinic initiative, which provides integrated MAT and perinatal care for pregnant women with opioid use disorder in Pitt County. The funds will be used to respond to the negative impacts of the opioid epidemic in North Carolina, and that's 800,000. And then the city of Greenville, 250,000, and this is in a directed grant for an amphitheater related to capital improvements. And then we have another $250,000 um, in a directed grant given to Pitt County for water and wastewater infrastructure. So in Pitt County we have several small cities, and sometimes the infrastructure they need assistance. So we have 250,000 for that, and all of these are non-reoccurring funds that I'm sharing with you. And the town of Ayden received 250,000, a directed grant for stormwater infrastructure. Um, the village of Simpson received 25,000, a directed grant to replace aging recreation equipment, trying to make sure that we help with the kids. And then the town of Grifton, 250,000, um, in a directed grant for its water line needs. And again, these smaller towns, they it's been sometimes a long time before the pipes and things have been replaced. Sometimes people don't even realize them until later. So that was 250,000 to town of Grifton, and then 150,000 to the town of Winterville in a directed grant for radio communication hardware and related equipment. And then we had 4.5 million to for regional aviation grants to the Pitt County Greenville Airport Authority. So I know you know that we have only one airline, which is American Airlines, flying out of Pitt County. And so we really want to attract another airline. We want to do everything that we can. And so we're trying to assist. So we have 4.5 million to assist with the regional aviation grant for Pitt County Greenville Airport. And then we have $100,000 going to East Carolina University in it's a grant for their business school to create a merit-based scholarship for Eastern North Carolina students, with priority given to Onslow County students in the fields of finance and artificial intelligence. So this AI is popping up everywhere, and so we that's $100,000 being allocated to them. And then we have $8.7 million to UNC ECU Medical Examiner's Office. And this is the remaining funding for the new regional medical examiner office at ECU. The total amount that was authorized for the project was 35 million. And so they received everything except the 8.7 million. And so in this budget, this was now provided. And then we have 23.2 million given to UNC ECU Howell Science Building North for comprehensive renovation. And this is continued funding for the comprehensive renovation of the North Tower of the Howell Science Building at ECU. So that total amount authorized for that project was a total of 46 million. And so now the 23.2 million is the remaining balance for that. And then ECU Brody School of Medicine, you know that we funded that, and it was 265 million that it was approved. Well, we provide the remaining funds for construction of Brody School of Medicine, and that is in the amount of 109 million. $109.7 million to for the construction. If you guys have driven by, you've seen it is coming up nicely, and it will be we'll be cutting ribbons to it very soon. And that is to complete the 265 million funding for the Brody School of Medicine. So those are things that are in Edgecombe as well as Pitt County that was allocated in the budget. And I wanted to make sure that with my first budget talks that you all were made aware of the funds that came to Edgecombe and the funds that came to Pitt County. And again, this is for a year, because next year it's time for us to work on the budget again. And prayerfully, it won't take us an entire year before we pass it. We won't be waiting 367 days. We won't have you to wait over 1,000 days from the last budget. Our one constitutional obligation is to make sure we have a budget for you, and so that's what we should have done 367 days ago, but we did not. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were made aware, you ladies and gentlemen, you were made aware of what is in the budget for Edgecombe as well as Pitt County. Now, those of you who received my Substack, I put that list into my Substack, and I sent that out, my newsletter, because I want people to know, I want people to be able to look at it, to go back and refer back to it and say, well, I didn't know this was here. And you might not remember every single thing I'm saying. You may go back and play it again, or if you do not subscribe to my newsletter and you would like to, you can always reach out to me at Kandie.Smith at ncleg.gov, which is Kandie.Smith at ncleg.gov. Or you can also respond on here. I'm sure I'll be looking to see if there's anyone says add me to it, and then we'll add you to it. And Atia, with education, we gave 8% teacher raises. And it was long overdue, we know. I appreciate your work as a teacher. Thank you so much for what you do. And so it is 8% for the teachers. I know that there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that sometimes people have about the budget. That's why I encourage you to go and look at it yourself. It is 630 something pages. We had to vote on it within 24 hours. The one thing about the budget that really, really bothers me is to get something, to have to vote on it in less than 24 hours with a lot of extreme policy. Most states have just the budget with the what's being funded, but we have a lot of policy in our budget in North Carolina. So, and some of this policy is taking away the governor's power, moving everything around. And I know that when you as the electorate voted for your governor, as well as those who serve in the House and the Senate, you voted for the people you wanted in those positions. You did not vote for us to go in and take the power away from someone because we don't like them. You're the ones who voted for them. So when we start having extreme situations like that, it makes me say, hmm. So I will tell you, there are a lot of things in the budget that you might find to be very surprising. You look and say, wow, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. Well, we didn't know about a lot of things because we were given 24 hours. And it's hard for me to sign my name on something that's just 24 hours. You have no idea what's in it, and then just sign it. It's like, what? Over 630 something pages? That was a doozy. But I wanted to at least come on for budget talks to let you in Pitt and Edgecombe know that what's in the budget for you all. And again, some of the highlights about the teacher raises, about the 13% for the state law enforcement, the 700 million for Hurricane Helene, fully funding Medicaid to cover the enrollment growth. I wanted you to know that. But what I do plan to do is come on for budget talks too, and then I'm probably going to be able to. I think it would be good to share a lot of the policy that I was telling you about that I find to be troubling that was placed in the budget, and the changes so that you can look at them and know them for yourself. I think that there's nothing like someone being educated. And this is a good way to start, is to give you as much information as I can on the budget. Again, it was a $34.4 billion budget. So when you get an opportunity and you want to look it up, um, please go look up Senate Bill 257 and see what you can find. You can there's like a search. You could put a certain word in there and search for it and see what comes up and find information that way on that tool. So I just want you to be an informed electorate. I just don't want you to be in positions to, you're doing your jobs and you have no idea what's happening or no idea what's going on. So because I had budget talks one and plan on having budget talks two, I want you to make sure that you share this with others. But then I also want you to put comments in about the things that you're interested in, the things that you want to know about, because some people may not really know how to look into the budget and read for those things. I don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it for you. That's my job. So I'll give it to my office and say, listen, this is what we have to do. So I just want you all to know that my job is to make sure that I work for you because you're my boss, and it's not the other way around. I know sometimes people say, well, you're the honorable, whatever. My job is to make sure that I work for the people. And if I'm not working for you, I'm not doing what I need to do. So I am excited to be able to at least share some things with you all. You know, I don't go live often. I'm trying to get better with my social media. I'm trying to get better because I want to find the best ways to reach out. And not everybody is receiving the newsletter. And so if I find some time to come on live, then I might get a chance to engage you a little bit more, get some questions asked, get some things answered. I don't mind doing that. And I will say this, while you're looking at what's in the budget, you'll be unpacking that and this stuff will be rolled out, and it'll take some time for this to be rolled out, right? Because it's a lot of policy in it, and you'll see those changes because we had over 1,000 positions that were cut, and they were vacant positions, right, at the state. But not all of those positions were exactly positions that needed to be cut because we still need these staff to do this job. So there's several departments that was completely cut, and oof, we'll talk about that. We'll save that for budget talks too. But I just wanted to at least give you that, and then also allow you that opportunity to share your feedback on this live in the comments. Share your questions, anything that you want me to make sure that I bring up in budget talks too. Any questions that you have for clarity, let me know, and I'll be glad to share that in budget talks too. Okay? I don't want to hold you long. I thank you for your time and your attention. Please make sure you share this with other people so that they'll know. This is, again, the basics of what was allocated to Edgecombe and Pitt County. And so also some of the highlights. So what we'll do is on Budget Talks 2, we'll get a little bit more in depth. And I'll probably talk about some of the policy that was in the budget so that you'll know about them. Some of the things that make you say, what was that about? Some might be okay. Some might be some things that we can all agree to. And then some are things that make you go, okay? So if you want to hear those, make sure you continue to follow me and join me. And you'll hear some very interesting things. You'll probably, some things that'll make you go, like I said. So I thank you for your time with me sharing. God bless each and every one of you. Enjoy the remainder of your evening. Thank you for allowing me to just give you a little bit of what's in the state budget that was passed on the 7th of July and signed into law by Governor Josh Stein. So thank you all. Be blessed.